Hello everyone, welcome to Unicorn Light Tarot. Sincerely hope everybody's doing amazingly well today. Today we are oh, by the way, of course, welcome to everybody if you are brand new or whether you are returning. And do not forget, if you are brand new and you haven't been here before, we also have the magic candle. It's dressed with magic oil, so there's lots of different ways to use these sessions or these readings for activation, for support, for healing, any way you want. So this is an abundance candle. So whatever it is that you need to infuse a little bit more magic into your life, we're absolutely there for you. Today, this is also a suggestion. I am blanking on who suggested this, but it's from one of you guys. So thank you very much. I loved this idea, and I have no idea. I never know how these readings are going to go, but I have no idea how this reading is going to go, but I was very curious to do messages from Father Sky, from the Divine Masculine. Now, some of you may see that as a Godhead, God figure, you know, however you see it, but it's the Divine Masculine, Father Sky energy that we will be channeling today. And yeah, let's get right into our reading. So we have 3 piles as usual. So on each of the piles, as you can see, we have a letter here. So the first pile is a K. Second pile is a V. They're so little, so you'll be able to see them without me having to pick them up. And the third pile is an M. Now, use this however you want, whether it's your initial or whether you're just pulled to the look of the letter or whether that letter means something to you. As always, take as much time as you need. The more aligned you are with your own soul, the more these readings resonate with you. So if you need to go ahead and pause the video, the timestamps are down below as always. So we're just going to take just a minute to take in a deep breath and hold for a second and release everything that no longer serves you, at least for the next 10-15 minutes, for you to just come in and around the energy of this reading. So let's go ahead and move 2 and 3 aside for now. So if you chose pile 1 and the letter K, then this is your reading from Father Sky, from the Divine Masculine. So we're going to start off with this one card. We've got some oracle, we've got some tarot going on, get you some messages, see what we have. So you have mastered Buddha, increased awareness, deep connection, trust your inner voice. That's wonderful. I'm going to start off with a row of oracle here. Excited about your messages. And then we have power and intention is your second there. And then let's see. What do we have for this one? Love. Okay, so pile 1, for those of you who chose the letter K, your messages from Father Sky, from the Divine Masculine, is to embrace the Divine Masculine on all levels and work with the, let's see, what do we have here? Yeah, you're being asked to step into a new level of commitment and to see the Divine Masculine as a way to provide peace for the soul. We often almost always, one way or another, attribute the Divine Feminine to intuition and sort of beauty and all of that sort of love. And we really do not equate necessarily with Divine Masculine as love per se, not all the time. That's more action, moving out in the world, confidence, groundedness. Also for you, definitely getting the message of connectedness. The Divine Masculine, actually, for you, pile 1, is a way for you to connect all aspects of self and root them into your first chakra and create that very firm foundation for you. For those of you who have been feeling a little bit shaky recently, and for those of you who are feeling as though they're in the void, which is a very exciting place to be in, because it's just a place the universe holds you in before you move on to the next step. So you've gone through a hell of a lot of healing, of beauty, and now you want to take all that power and intention, and but you feel as though you're being held in place. And for some of you, the energy is sort of ups and downs, and you have an idea of what you want to do. A lot of you have the passion to move forward, and for some of you, you've actually moved out physically out of a phase. Finished one job, or just finished a relationship, or is just about to move. There's actually a physical aspect to what's going on, like a real ending, and you're ready for that new beginning, but you also feel as though there's some kind of hold on it. You're being asked to make peace in that hold, that holding space, in that void space, because this is a space for you to really be able to connect all intricacies of all of who you are, and that can be done very firmly through the divine masculine, because it's there to sort of, and I keep getting to serve and protect. I think that's what the police say, but for some reason I'm getting that nothing to do with the police. Some of you maybe, but police officers, but it's more serve and protect. That's what the divine masculine does. And when the divine masculine is out of sync, it will click in and inopportune times and not work with the intuition and tell you that we need to go in this direction, we need to drive in this direction no matter what, or it'll protect you from things that you don't need protection from. So it'll work with the ego, it'll work with the brain mind, which is the ego and the brain mind. When it's filtered through, it doesn't necessarily bring you to your truth. But here you have this really beautiful opportunity to move through everything that you've gone through, and again, all the shadow work that you've gone through, all the healing that you've gone through. And this is a beautiful time to bring in the divine masculine and for it to be rooted permanently into your soul. And when it serves and protects, what it does, I'm being shown that it's sort of this outer coating of really melding with the divine feminine, with that outer coating, and it actually serves and protects your intuition and what you already know. So you're not actually firing off from the center of your soul with the divine masculine. What you're doing is you're firing off from the heart center. You're firing off from your divine feminine, but then the divine masculine comes in and protects that beautiful aspect of you as you move forward in the world, gives you the confidence to sort of bring out, to develop, and to integrate fully the divine feminine, which is the way it should be. Now, the divine feminine is soft, it's beautiful, and there's an element to it that's not necessarily rooted in action necessarily, but it moves, it's always moving forward and always wanting to develop. So the divine masculine coming in will set that soul on fire and move you forward in that way. So with your power and intention, and also your increased awareness you've been working on, or the divine feminine has been really, really rooted within you. A lot of you have come in working with the divine feminine aspect in many ways in past lives. So this is really about to have that deep connection with your inner voice, but to not have that truth sort of be behind closed doors. A lot of you know and work within this beautiful sort of ancient tradition of your own personal magic, and a lot of you can really see universal truths. You can see love in everything, not in this hippy dippy way like no boundaries or anything like that, but you can see love and you can see compassion in every single circumstance. But a lot of you, and you can see the universal truth in everything, where it's not filtered through the ego. It contains many different truths and holds space for other people. But the confidence of that, to integrate that into your voice and to be out there, will be with the divine masculine. And this is the energy that's in and around you now, this divine opportunity for you to bring in and ground into that divine masculine. And as that comes in, now it may mean that you're working with the divine masculine a little bit more than you normally do in order to balance out, and that's perfectly fine, because the divine masculine comes in and really what it does at its height, and this is how it's working for you now, is that it provides you with this comfort of knowing, this sort of action behind the intuition. It gives you this divine intention and says to you, what it is you believe is absolutely true. Now, sometimes, we have this spark, this energy, and we absolutely know, right, that it's coming from somewhere and we trust it. But then as we get out into the world, society gets in there, we start doubting ourselves, or we put what we believe is pure energy out there, but it's not quite what it is, and the energy falls short. You start doubting yourself. Well, maybe that energy wasn't complete, or maybe that intuition was a little bit off, or I do believe that intuition, but not maybe people don't need to hear that right now, and that divine masculine comes in and goes, no, this is your time. Step into your power. So this is a major time for you to bring all of that work that you've done and all of that peace that's arrived within you that may be coming in and out, but to keep that peace within you, knowing that you're moving forward in a way that means so much to you. That's the divine masculine coming in and just urging you forward and saying, you've got this. We're going to protect you. Everything's fine. And also, and this is very important too to remember, the divine masculine comes in to make sure that those boundaries come out. Like we just said, to reiterate, none of this, you can have and hold compassion for people, but you can also say, that's not for me, thank you. And to have those firm boundaries. For a lot of you, you've had to learn those firm boundaries. For some of you, it's been a hard task, and it's something that you've had to learn. You've been put in a position time and time again to learn this, because it's something that you didn't have in the past, or a lot of you were looking for love one way or another, and you thought that if your boundaries were open, then you would be able to receive it. You didn't want to have boundaries around love, and then you had to realize that not everybody is worth bringing into your life. Not everybody is capable of giving you the love that you absolutely deserve. So there were many different reasons why you had to come into that boundary, learning those boundaries. But the divine masculine comes in and whispers in your ear, we're good to go. We don't need to do this. Let's cut the cords, let's cut the ties here. And they can work in a very protective manner if they're fully integrated and grounded and rooted into your soul, which is absolutely the time that you're at now. And I keep getting like okay, when people text, instead of doing the okay, they just say K. So this is telling you that everything's okay. You're exactly where you need to be, and this is the time for you to balance out with the divine masculine, the divine feminine. And again, if you need to concentrate a little bit on integrating that divine masculine, it'll eventually even out. We want to talk about very briefly, before we go into the tarot, about the difference between masculine and divine masculine. Now, masculine sometimes borders on toxic masculinity, and on its global front or in the collective, it can be seen as the patriarchy. Now, what we're seeing here is we're seeing a collapse of that in all realms of society. And because we've had the patriarchy for so long, hundreds if not thousands of years in society, even through our religions, one way or another, it's the collapse has been very chaotic for people, and it's been very triggering for people, which is totally and completely understandable. So while this is happening, it's almost more important for you to step into the divine masculine, for you to disassociate from the toxic masculinity, from the patriarchy, something that you never really believed in anyway, but we all had to integrate into the world one way or another, but never fully were seen. And this is a way for you to rise in your power, and again, to bring and integrate the divine feminine the way it always should be. Now, as the patriarchy is collapsing one way or another, we are coming into the rise of the feminine, the divine feminine. But as the divine feminine is rising, it does need to be protected. And this is where the divine masculine comes in. So this is sort of a very divine aspect of where you are right now. You're exactly aligned with where you need to be, as always. And this is for those of you who really understand for the first time completely who you are, but are ready to get out there, not quite sure how to integrate your truth in your voice, or to have that sort of that tangible beautiful world that you have in your head, to make it in the sort of the 3D world and the actual world and the collective. This is the way this energy integrated fully into the divine masculine will help you do that. Now let's get you some beautiful tarot here, and let's see what other messages we have for you. This is a very exciting time for you before. It feels like for most of you, you've tried to connect with the divine masculine before. It's not your first rodeo doing this. And you've had mixed results with it too. You find it very powerful, but the work needed to be done on the essence, on the side of the divine feminine, to make peace, to rise in, and also to release some of that energy of the toxic masculinity that we were talking about, that you were affected by, in order to be at this plateau to really involve the divine masculine. So you're ready for that now. So let's see what we have. We're gonna double this up here and maybe move this back so we have enough room so we can see. Now again, this was just a suggestion for the message that I mentioned, but the K for you could mean something very personal. As always, these are general messages, so listen to your heart and to your intuition. Five of Swords, absolutely what we were just saying. And the King of Wands, wonderful. So under the peace, we were saying with the Five of Swords, we were saying it wasn't the right time before, or this was an incremental moving toward this notion. For some of you, the wounded divine feminine, and how that voice had been shut down, that integration, that purpose needed to come back out again. For some of you, you're finding a lot of your voice. Now this is going to sound a little bit nuts, but bear with me. And this may be a message for just some of you, but a lot of your voice has actually existed in your past lives. And some of you have been really connected to past lives recently with the magic and the beauty that you have, and the voice and the truth that you have from past lives. Now, as you grew up in this life, there were heavy karma that you needed to move through. You're very, very old souls, and you were busy working through that karma and figuring out these soul contracts. And a lot of you were in survival mode. So, you know, some of that truth was dumbed down a little bit, but it never went anywhere. And that's what you needed to do. There was a rediscovering aspect of your soul that needed to happen. Now that's been uncovered. And some of that, there was anger to the masculine. And again, that was the toxic masculinity. That was the control of the masculine. We can see it now still happening in society, but again, it's all falling away. But it's not really about what happens in the collective right now. For you, what you had to realize, Pile 1, and this is the biggest lesson that we can teach ourselves. So this is not just you, but you've really gotten into this recently, that, you know, there's been an aspect of you that's been released from fighting against, resisting against. And I personally, on a personal level, I totally understand where you're coming from. And there's a reason why we do it. You know, there's a reason why we resist, and we should. There's a way to resist, though, where you're not resisting yourself. So you've released yourself from the resistance of the collective, and you've decided that everything that happens with it, you're in control of, you can do something about. So what you've done is you've taken that truth and you've really honed in on it from past lives, and you've accepted it as your truth, and you're ready to move forward with it. There's nothing more to prove anymore. You see, when we're working with the collective, when we're working with the external, there's always more work to do. There's always more to resist. There's always more, more to be angry about, right? But when you pull everything in, there's nothing more to prove. There's no validation that's needed. So you've pulled everything within. You've said, this is my truth. I'm doing this. And that's provided you with a certain amount of peace that no one can take from you. See, no matter what anybody says to you, you realize that they're projecting. It's their opinion. Sometimes there's a lesson to be learned in there, and you know when to take that away and say, all right, I am triggered by this. What am I doing about this? But you know to take yourself away and not to trigger and let that trigger sort of influence the external world. That is a very private message from the triggering, from the universe to you, to signify something that needs to be held within. Or healed within, not held within, healed within, not to be projected back out into the world. So this has provided you with a certain amount of peace because you put down those swords. You don't need to fight anymore. There's no resistance. You can take things as they are. You also understand on a very intrinsic level that what we focus on is creating our future. So if you have freedom in the present moment, you're creating a brand new future. If you are focusing and resisting on the past, you are creating the future that exists in the past too. There's no brand new future. So this is something that you've absolutely realized. Now your power and intention is coming in with this King of Wands here. with this passion. Again, moving forward, the height of who you are, not being afraid to get out there and show your worth, again, without validation, just moving forward and knowing that the right people will come in and around you. Also, there's this kind of energy whereby there's so much energy that you've been accumulating from doing this work. It's almost like if you don't say your piece, and again, this has got nothing to do with your ego, but if you don't share who you are, it's almost like you're going to explode for some of you. Because, and here's the reason why, you're at that point where you've clicked into your blueprint, you know why you're here. You're here to be of service, and you're absolutely ready to be steadfast on that path and move forward. So this clicking into the divine masculine here just provides you with that coding to be, and that protection to be able to do that. This is the last forefront of you sort of clicking into that energy and getting what it is that you want. Now, those tangible things of success, of not having to worry about money, of doing what you want to do completely, is absolutely yours for the taking once the inner masculine, or the divine masculine, our beautiful Father Sky, is integrated fully and is allowed to develop in and around the divine feminine. Something that you already know about, and be able to protect it as you rise up and do what it is that you are supposed to do. So you've got the love here. See what we have. Beautiful Six of Cups, absolutely gorgeous. So what I was going to say is that the six also is about community. This is about building new community in this world and moving forward and meeting with like-minded people. For you, this is a new version of connection that will start from the interior with the divine masculine, the divine feminine, really coming together in this sort of brand new and holistic and beautiful way, in a very, very peaceful way. In the past, you may have tried to put them together. The divine feminine is here, the divine masculine. This is what you're supposed to be doing for them. And it was a little bit clumsy, and that was fine, because there was work that needed to be done. There was a peaceful aura that needed to come in with the divine feminine, from the truth of your old lives, your past lives, that needed to be integrated fully before you could fully bring in the divine masculine. Again, there needed to be release from the toxicity, because your past lives were integrated with the male toxicity and a lot of control. So in this lifetime, you're going to avoid being controlled in any way. Now, for some of you, you may have avoided any circumstances where somebody told you what to do, and you may still have that stubborn streak where somebody tells you what to do, even if it's a good thing to do. If it's the way they say it, the mannerisms and what they say it, you won't do it anyway because you're stubborn. Now, and it's a very specific way that you're stubborn. Because normally when somebody, speaks to you in a certain way, and that, I'm not happy with this or this, that, and the other, you will look at it. You will, you're very open. I didn't mean to offend you. Let's look at this. Let's tear it apart. Let's figure this out together. So you're stubborn in a very specific way, and it's a way that somebody tells you to do something, and that's because from past lives, that sense of control, you just don't want it in this life at all. Now, in any of these situations, even if it was better for you to go ahead and take that advice, it really didn't matter, because your inner feminine, or your inner feminine was working in such a way that it led you to the outcome that you were supposed to be at. But if there's any reason why you do that, and again, if there's any sense of control in the way that people speak to you, it's the toxic masculinity of control. It's not a gender thing. It can come from a female, it can come from a male. It usually comes from some sort of authority or a boss. If there's a way that they speak to you, you will leave. You will not do it. Even if they're asking you to do something that you need to do, it's the mannerism that's it. Really, it irks your soul, and that comes from your past. But that's something that you needed to work through, and you work through consistently. And it's also a matter of letting the past go and integrating what happened in the past and saying, all right, that's not going to happen to me again. You're not here in this lifetime to be controlled in any way. You're here to work on that spiritual level and to take all of the gifts that you've accumulated from past lives and be able to bring them to people and integrate them into your life, and to have success in this lifetime. In many lifetimes before, you were brilliant at what you did, but you didn't have, you lived a very humble life, and we'll leave it like that. And here, you're here to have different kinds of riches. So if any of you have any not weird things, but to do with money and you've been up and down with money, you'd like a little bit more money, but you might want to look into the relationship with money, because some of you have even had clergy, like not necessarily nuns, but you've lived a life in past lives, where it wasn't expected to have money. So it was sort of a vow of poverty in one way or another. So you might want to look at that if that's resonating with you. That's not what you're supposed to do in this lifetime. And it's just something that you can go in. It's not integrated fully. It just might be in your subconscious to say and reprogram your mind, I'm here to have many riches and successes. You're actually here to live a layered life in this lifetime. You're here to live a very spiritual life, but you're here to live a very balanced life and show people how that can be successful in the world, being you and being authentic. So this is about soul family coming in. This is about connection. This is about where you are going to be. This is all about building your own communities. And that goes on all levels, where, not even politics anymore. Like each community is working for themselves. A lot of you don't even believe in politics anymore. I mean, I don't blame you. In the last couple of years, it was never great, but it's just gotten absolutely ridiculous, Everybody has to choose from two nunchucks, right? I mean, they're both nunchucks. So I don't even think I know what nunchucks are. I think I do. I guess it works in this context, but you know what I'm saying. So it's really about building community and the world that you want to see, and you start within. But actually, it's a tangible form that's going to work with you. So the divine masculine in this lifetime will be working with you in tangible forms to build these communities, to build these connections in this lifetime, to be able to see that in your lifetime, and to take sort of a less conventional role of what we've had before, where it's controlled, rules are made, you're supposed to adhere by them, but the rules are made in order to dumb you down. We're not doing that anymore. A lot of rules are trying to be made to be able to do that, but it's still falling away. So it doesn't mean that there won't be resistance from control as everything's falling away. And that's why it's important to look within and not look on the external, and be responsible fully for your energy, because that's where your power lies. But you already know this. So let's get you a couple last cards here. Pile 1. So this is a beautiful place for you to be in. It's a very powerful place. This literally popped out. It just went fearlessness. Turn your warrior into warrior. Absolutely. You've got the solar plexus. So again, solar plexus coming in from your beautiful I am, your voice, your authenticity. And again, the warrior, so it's not that the divine feminine is a warrior necessarily, but worrying about taking that vulnerability out into the world, but again, being coated in the protection of the divine masculine, which is ready to integrate on a brand new level for you, turning you into that warrior. And of course, I talk about this in my book. When you get to that warrior level and you've integrated it all, there's no need to be a warrior anymore. There's no need to fight. But right now you have the King of Wands. You have this and it's not necessarily fighting energy per se, but it's very passionate energy of moving forward, using that rod to protect if you need to. But again, it's the protection for you is about knowing and really firmly, for those of you who need to hear this, absolutely firmly setting those boundaries while you move out in the world. Before you allowed everybody to kind of work the way that they wanted to, and then you would sort through the energy, no more, not doing this anymore. Some people are aligned with the old way as things are crumbling and they're still holding on to it. That's absolutely their right, because Earth is a free will zone, but you don't have to equate yourself with that energy. Work in the new energy of the new Earth coming in, and work in whatever it is that you want to feel as though we should be focusing on. This is what you focus on, and you will create in your communities, in your connections, in a tangible way outside of yourself. And this is your fearlessness that you can bring, that you've always had, but this fearlessness that you can bring into the world, and quite frankly, we need it. So this is your reading, Pile 1. This is what we have for you. We sincerely hope it resonated and you got a little bit of magic here. We're sending you so much support exactly where you are, for exactly who you are. We want to remind you that there's a full moon reading that I just uploaded. I'm going to link it down below because the full moon's coming in on the 23rd in the sign of Aquarius. So if you haven't checked out that reading yet, that will give you some much more, give you a lot of support to different area, of course, but a lot of support. We urge you to check that out. That's collective energy going on right now. So that's extra information for you. So take care, Pal One, until we meet again. Stay safe and sane. Bye bye. Okay, all you Pal Tours, if you chose the letter V, whether it's your initials or you were just attracted to this is your reading. And just to recall, we are doing messages from Father Sky and messages from the Divine Masculine today. So we're going to start off with, oh my goodness, you have the light activation. Sanat Kumara. Probably don't. It's probably pronounced a little bit different to that, but light activation, shine your light, your internal guidance is coming through loud and clear. This is your first beautiful message here. Let's get you a couple more messages and then we're gonna go for your reading. Here, let's see what we have here. We have this one, Guardian Angel. Wonderful. Getting a lot of messages for you, Pal 3. Pal 2. Okay. All right, follow your dreams. Yeah, okay. So the first message that I got for you, Pal 2, let's move this back, is that you're being activated at a level where they want you to know, your guides want you to know that you are absolutely ready. Now, these are general readings, so it's going to apply to each and every one of you in a very specific way, in a slightly different way, but you are ready. And I'm being told that you know what that means. You're ready to move forward in the way that you want to. Whatever it is that you've been thinking about that you want to do, this is confirmation that it is correct and what you want, moving forward into the world in a positive way. So not just following your dreams, but there's but to be, yeah, to again, you know, in these readings, never really surprised that there's, because we are clicking into universal or collective energy too. So there's always a thread between, sort of always see it as a red thread between all of these piles. So you have this in common with pile 1, even though the energy is different. But there's a sort of an energy in you that's very different to pile 1, because it's sort of this ball of energy. For some of you, it's kind of this nervous ball of energy, and that's your divine masculine. And some of you have almost put, I'm being shown, you put the divine masculine on a shelf. There's many different reasons why you would have done that. Some of you have viewed it as toxic, mistaking divine masculine for toxic masculinity, or in a global sense or in a collective sense. It's the patriarchy, right? Now, you did understand and have very clear distinction between both of them, so you don't have to worry about that. But there was a certain amount of healing. There's a certain amount of movement. It was almost like a cloudy movement. You had to go through and sort of take off the cobwebs from the toxicity. And some of this was from your earlier life, and some of it was from previous lives, just like Paul 1. In order to reach this sort of new plateau where you could invite in the divine masculine in a very, very powerful way. So like Pal 1, you have this need and you have this drive, though, which is slightly different to Pal 1, to actually be out in the world with a divine masculine purpose. So regardless of gender, regardless of how you identify gender-wise, or if you do identify gender-wise, it really doesn't matter. The way in which you're going to show up in this world, the way in which you're going to integrate your soul in this world, is going to be considered quite masculine. For some of you, you have a really sort of unique dichotomy of influences here, because you have this sort of real intense masculine energy which projects strength and beauty, stoicism sometimes, not necessarily intimacy, but power. And a lot of people have taken that the wrong way and have treated you a certain way. A lot of people are quite afraid of you one way or another. And you know, there's a reason for that. You don't do it very often, but you have that sting, like that Scorpio. You might be a Scorpio, you might have that scorpionic energy. If not, it takes you a while to get to that point, but when you do, you can really come back at people. Now, I'm done, you know, but your back really needs to be up against the wall. You're also incredibly naive and beautiful and extremely forgiving, but you don't suffer fools lightly. And I wouldn't want to be the sort of person that pokes the bear, because once you really come out of that shell and say, all right, I'm done with you, you can really go for them. So you project this amount of power. That's your masculine, your divine masculine side. And it could have really been strange for you growing up, because as you grew up, a lot of people had a very specific way that they treated you. They either loved you or they hated you, or people would turn against you, supposedly for no reason. You hadn't even talked to them, and you really didn't understand it. It may have confused you, and for some of you it could have even have gone to the point where you were quite upset by it, and then it sort of made you hold back your energy a little bit. Now, of course, you can't really hold back your energy, and you have this energy in and around you, and a lot of this power you're emanating without even really realizing it. Now, what's happening for you, which is really powerful and really fun, is that you are aware of your power now in all of its layers and all of its depth. You know the influence that you have on people. You're not manipulative in any way, but you know how to use it in a way to kind of get what you want. There's nothing wrong with that, because you're not manipulative. But it's also a way that you can work in the world. You kind of see what you need and you can go grab it for yourself. But you also have this incredibly naive, almost naive, like childlike sensibility. And, that's been at odds with each other a little bit before. So sometimes you can come across as a little bit too strong and intimidate people, and that you're very aware of. And, you would sort of repel back from that, because people would be, sort of misread you, and then, and it would kind of get a little bit messy. And the other thing is that your power shows up and really shows people's insecurities. That's nothing that you're in control of, but that's happened too. So people can feel a little insecure about you and kind of bite back. So regardless of how that works, sometimes you either pull yourself back, or you go and you've protected that inner child, that naivety, because you need to do that because of the backlash of what's happened before. So again, none of these people where those were examples in your life were supposed to be integrated into your life. You were supposed to work with them, or to be in and around them. But you're the sort of person that had a lot of power but didn't necessarily know how to access it to its fullest degree. But again, when you did access it, you knew how powerful that you were. You knew how powerful you were. So this is a matter of moving forward, of really working with the divine masculine. You're absolutely ready to do that, and really developing that side of your power and use that power to follow your dreams in the way that you want. Light activation. So the internal guidance is coming through loud and clear, and shine your light. So you're ready to get out there, and the way in which you will do this, because you actually have that naivety and that beauty. You see, that naivety and that beauty and that childlike quality feels comfortable when the divine masculine is firmly there, right? Firmly established and in protective mode. Now, it doesn't need to be in protective mode where it doesn't let anything in. It's like, there's too many walls up, there's too many boundaries up. That's what you did before. This is a complete sort of 180 of what you were doing. This is you being vulnerable, working with the divine feminine, moving in that way. Even the way you guys move, you've got this mysterious kind of energy to you. When you walk into a room, people look up, and you're aware of that. Now, at certain times when you feel powerful, you love that energy and you can work with it. But at times you didn't want that energy. When you walked into a room and you didn't feel powerful, it could feel as though, 1,000 eyes burrowing into your heart. It was too much. And some of you could have avoided the spotlight because of that, because when you step into the spotlight, there's a lot of eyes on you. There's a lot of mystery around you. People want to be around you. And even though you knew that was an aspect of your personality that you couldn't dumb down when you were in the limelight, you didn't always want to be in the limelight. And again, this attracted the kind of energy where people would want to put you in the place or be confused about your power. But that's because you weren't fully possessing your power yet. This is you stepping into, and I keep getting V for Vendetta. It's Alan Moore. I think it's Alan Moore. It was made into a movie, but it was originally a graphic novel. This is something, you're here to pull down the old structures, and you're here not to suffer fools lightly. You're going to pull down those old structures, and you're going to do whatever you need to do to pull them down. And that is a powerful thing to be able to do in this lifetime. People are trying to do that in this lifetime, but they're shifting it through their ego. So they're not doing as much work as they think they're doing, but they need to be free to do the work that they feel that they're here to do. And it's all working in the collective one way or another. And again, as a macro level, we can't see how it all connects in these jigsaw puzzles and how that work that they're doing will integrate with your work. So well done for them doing it. But that's not the way you're going to do it. You're not going to do it through the ego. You're doing it through the divine masculine. You're doing it through truth. You're doing it through showing up in power, but you're not resisting. You're taking the truth and just shedding light completely on it and bringing back sort of the old truths and standing in that light. Really what you're here to do is to stand as a promise of what could be. If you stand in your own light, in the divine masculine, in the divine feminine, and stand in your own power, you're here to show everybody that no one can be controlled if they understand that the power is within them and stop looking to the external. This is all about you creating the world that you want, and you're able to do this. And also for you, it's Paul too, it's fully integration time for you between your beautiful, naive, gorgeous. When we say naive, it's not, it's sort of melded in with this beautiful way that you have with sort of elemental energy, and the divine feminine comes in there too, but it's more childlike energy, and it's this joyful, light, beautiful authenticity that you have. It also goes in with vulnerability, but also with this extreme power that you have. Again, you walk into a room, people can feel it. In fact, you could walk into a building on the first floor and people on the second floor could feel as though there's an energy shift. You have a very, very powerful energy. You've not necessarily known what to do with it to make yourself as powerful as you could be, or utilize that power in a way. And you actually know what it's like to try and control your power. You actually know what it's like. So when people are saying they're being controlled or this, that, and the other, and they're looking on the external, you've lived like that. You actually know that's how you're giving away your power, and you're literally just pulling in the old and concentrating on everything that you don't want. You've actually done that for a good portion of your life, trying to break down how your power works and how you can utilize it. So you know that's not the way for you. For you to really come into your own power, it's not to resist, it's to let everything in. But again, as we said with Power One, we want to be very clear. It does not mean that you don't have boundaries. This works for me, this doesn't. I can give you divine love, I can give you compassion, but that doesn't mean that you get to do X, Y, and Z. I am definitely putting up, I'm saying no to this. This is my boundary, off you pop. And with your divine masculine fully activated in the way that you're working with it now, that will not be a problem. That will not be a problem, because your inner child, because it came in and out. If your inner child was in and around, they were like, yeah, bring in this energy, let's play, it'll be really fun. And then disaster would hit, because not all energy needs to come into your space now more than ever. There's a lot of chaos that you can take in and you can transmute it. And you've done that. You don't need to do that for the external world anymore. You're being asked to look within and do that for yourself. But you've come out on the other side of it. This light activation is definitely showing that you've come out on the other side of a lot of these healing practices. So moving forward and working with the divine masculine in this way will help you really integrate your power in a very powerful way from the inside out, where very little you need to do. Now, we want to be clear. It doesn't mean that you sit on your butt and you do nothing. Obviously, that's not what we're saying. But, you're taking divine action. Before, you took a lot of different kinds of action. You didn't really get the results that you wanted. But you can move forward with the divine action, with activated divine masculine here, where things come to you. And we want you to have the sort of life where everything comes to you. And when people seem like they have it easy, or we don't know how you have a charmed life, everything seems to fall into place, people don't realize that actually takes work. That takes a lot of inner work. That takes a lot of specific types of action. That takes a lot of releasing of the old and trusting, and a lot of that balance, right? So it's not that these people are charmed necessarily. It's that they know what they're doing and how to work with the energy, and they know how to work with their own energy. And this is where you're at. But really for you, Pal, too, your divine masculine is asking to be to be up front and center at the beginning, and not to take away from the divine feminine in any way. There's always a balance there. But for you, as you move forward into this new plateau, just putting forward this divine masculine is going to give you this energy that you need to really solidify your power and move forward in the way that you want. It also, just by stepping up into that power and working with it and making it your sort of guardian angel here, the divine feminine and your beautiful, again, not naivety, it is naivety, but it's really charming though. The charming sort of inner self, the charming inner child will be able to sort of integrate at a whim and feel comfortable to come out and be melded in and integrated all the time instead of coming out at certain times. Some people can say that, I don't really know you. One time you're like this and then you're like that. That's the reason why, to integrate fully in full authenticity, where you're extremely powerful, but there's something extremely childlike and gorgeous about you, but you're standing in your power. You don't have to give away your power while you're in your childlike mode. Let's go ahead and get you some tarot. Move this just a little bit there so you can see it all, but you're definitely here to bring down the old structures, which we are seeing here. Again, everybody's working with this differently, which will all come together. It is my belief that no matter what happens, whatever you choose, everything will be okay. And I don't mean this in a way that we don't take full responsibility for our own actions, but it really will be okay. It's gonna work out. So we don't have to worry what everybody else is doing. We just got to think about what we're doing, and we don't have to worry about any of it. We just need to move forward. But this is your time to be active in your own power and rooted in your own power. Working with the divine masculine and being rooted into the divine masculine, two different things. And this is something that you are figuring out yourself. So I'm being called to put this on. Yes, Two of Cups. So being called to that at the bottom of the pile here. So divine masculine, divine feminine coming in again, regardless of gender, might be coming in for those of you who not big on the whole twin flame thing. As if you've been with me for a while, you know that. But let's say soulmate, very special relationship, somebody who definitely deserves you. I'm feeling like August, September coming in for some of you really, really soon, definitely 2021. If you're open to it, we can, even in our blueprints, we can always say that we don't want something, we can walk away, we have free will. Those of you who are already in a relationship, stepping it up to the next level. You've been in this relationship for a while. You want to see if it's going to level up to the next level because you're leveling up to the next level. Will this person be able to come in with you? The answer here is yes. Give them some space. Again, sometimes that's the remnants of having such a strong and powerful divine masculine presence. Sometimes you're like, how long is it going to take for everybody to catch up with me? You have that, but understanding that everybody has their own way, and the beauty of it that the other person, again, beyond gender, whether you're male or female, the other person that you're with or that you're pulling in, that you're attracting or that you're already with, might be the remnants really of the divine feminine in a way, and that's where you come together with this. So they might have really divine feminine energy, still have the divine masculine. They're definitely balanced in that way, but they might have more divine feminine. So it's just a matter of being patient. The way in which they show up will be different to the way you will show up. So have patience as they come in, as you move forward, and trust to give them space. They need some space as you've needed space in order to meet you where you are going to go. But you chose this person. You've had a past life with this person, whether you've met them or not. So they are absolutely ready, willing, and able, without a shadow of a doubt, to follow you and match you in any footsteps that you do out in the world. And this is one of the reasons why you came together, because you would be able to support each other as you move through the world, as you move through the ranks, and as you claim the success for yourself. They will absolutely be able to do that and give you space to be able to do that without judgment, and protect your authenticity. So let's see what we have. We've got the Four of Wands celebration here. As we talked about the activation with the light, shining your light. There is somebody coming in for you. Now, for those of you who are, let's just say this now. Not everybody needs to be in a relationship. Some people are just not into it. They don't want it. They want to take a break, or they don't need somebody else to quote unquote complete them. That's not quite how it works, but if that's the way you see it, totally understand. So regardless of whether we're talking about one person or a family. This is family, this is celebration, this is community. For you, family and friends are the same when you bring them into that close-knit group, right? So it really doesn't matter if it's another partner. This is you coming into shining your light, gathering that beautiful energy and power, and being seen in your community, in and around you, and being celebrated for exactly who you are. So coming into soul family, coming into people who matter to you. You've had soul family, maybe they're sporadic, or different parts of the world, or they're there, or they're online. This is a firm collection of people who will be supporting you, being there for you, and really appreciating what it is that you have to offer. So whether that's a one-on-one relationship or slightly more, this is about connecting in a new and much more powerful way. So these soul family members are coming in. For those of you who already know that you have the soul family, there's going to be an instance where, and this is probably just a message for a couple of you, but maybe you're moving closer to them so you can have that relationship one-on-one in person, or you're moving back home, or something, somewhere where you have these ties, where you're accepted for exactly where you are, or just moving in and around the vicinity. You're moving nearer to them, not necessarily the same town or the same house, but moving nearer to them, but they already exist. This is something that you'll be considering. So if it's something that you were thinking about, this is, you got to go with your intuition, but seems as though that could be a good thing for you. So under guardian angel, we have the Empress. Absolutely. And this is a beautiful energy too, because the guardian angel energy is definitely, for me as we're reading it, giving off the divine masculine energy of working specifically with the divine masculine. As we said before, the more you embrace the divine masculine, the more comfortable your energy of the divine feminine, with all of her magic and her beauty, standing in her own power without having to prove her worth, will come through. So normally we say, balance them out. We're always talking about balance, right? But who balances that way? We eat crap one day and then we eat really well the next day. And we're humans. We can't work on this level. I saw something the other day that made me laugh, and it was this things to do to be spiritual. And a bunch of things like, drinks lots of water, get out in nature. And then it was like, and then it got even more severe as it went down. And then one of them was like, don't eat for pleasure, just eat for health. And and it was just like, if that's what you want to do, that's great. But you are here to have absolutely everything, and to be involved in every part of life, and to remind you that life is joy. It's not just we're just doing the spiritual stuff, and we're going to force it, we're going to do it. The spirituality, beautiful stuff comes when you're living in joy, and we don't balance in that way by trying to control the balance. I'm going to be healthy by only eating these foods. I've actually done that, and I made myself really, really sick. I actually ended up with an eating disorder. That's a whole different video, but that's just, being very, very clear about this balance. It works differently for everybody, and you can't be in control of that balance. So for you, just putting that divine masculine forward is a really wonderful way for you to bring into balance everything else. So you can concentrate on that one aspect of you, and then the magic comes in, the divine feminine. And then we have that beautiful energy of that gorgeous childlike energy coming in, and that authenticity coming in. But the front and center, we have this. Now, as you move forward into the world, you integrate fully, it'll probably integrate a little bit differently. But for now, one can go in front of the other, and you can still maintain that balance. It may feel a little weird at the beginning, but that's totally fine. As a reminder, sometimes when you really try to do things and control them into the balance, I'm only going to eat healthy food, your mind becomes not healthy. Your body might be quite healthy, but your mind isn't that healthy. And then your mind is has a lot to do with your happiness and how your body works. So it doesn't really work like that. So getting back to that joyful state and really allowing yourself to naturally fall into these rhythms that are right for you, and you dictate how this is balanced, not how you're going to control your life so you become balanced. See? So under follow your dreams, we have Eight of Wands. Absolutely. So this is memories coming in for you. And again, you've got this in common with Pile 1. you know, these memories and this ancient magic that you have and this ancient wisdom that you have that's coming in, that's going to be integrated in this lifetime, that's absolutely gorgeous, and having the passion to put it out into the world and integrate it. And also you have these beautiful ideas that you have in following your dreams that are a little bit unique and a little bit outside of the box. So it takes a little bit of a gumption, as we say. My mom used to say this, got some gumption. You know, it takes a little bit of like, you know, a little bit of cockiness, if you want to put it like that, for clarity's sake. I don't really see it like that. But it takes that real confidence that I got this, I can do this, you know. And because of your worth, because of all the experiences that you've been through, people will put you in situations, you'll be able to climb the ladder a lot quicker. In fact, when you look back on your life and you're like, oh, I did get into that, I did do that, and maybe people were pissed off that you climbed the ladder quicker than they did, but you showed a certain amount of authority when you committed and put your mind to it. When you don't, you know, you can be all or nothing in that way. But these ideas that you have that are absolutely gorgeous do require this real action orientated mind. Again, it's coming into balance. This is the way that you're balancing. It's just your own terms. So to put this out there, to get that community going, to really support that community and do what it is that you want to do, live that joyful life and live the way that you want to. It's just a matter of allowing all these passionate, beautiful ideals to get out there in such a way that you know that they're going to take off. You absolutely know that they're going to bring in energy that's going to bring in these opportunities. All you have to do is sort of show up for them, but show up for them for the right energy. Again, throwing out this idea of control and allowing your energy of how you naturally balance to take form and see where that goes. And you will know when it's time to like step in with the divine feminine, when to pull back, this, that, and the other. But it will start out with the divine masculine. So this is your guardian angel. You can do lots of energy and meditations with the divine masculine to get that that fullness, that richness, that beauty of your confidence coming in. And then again, it creates this safeguard, this gorgeous safeguard for this authentic side of you that's absolutely gorgeous. And you know, that this real playful side of you, that playful side that wants to have joy and wants to have beauty. And you know, and you probably are very similar to me, because I can see myself in this reading too, where the ways in which you have balanced before have been very extreme. You know, you've gone this and you've gone that, the big pendulum. But you know what? You're not doing that anymore necessarily. That's not what you're being asked to do. But we want to be very clear. The way in which you worked before is that you had a lot of experiences. And even though it was a very difficult way of doing things, you really learned those lessons. You learned them so you didn't have to loop around and do them again. And all of the lessons were coming back to figuring out how you balance on your own, figuring out everything on your own terms. Don't listen to other people and how they're doing it. You're an individual. You'll be doing this your own way, and establishing your own uniqueness, but seeing that connectivity all the way through the universe. So, you know, the way in which you did things before could have been a little bit more intense, but that really set you up as a really firm plateau, really firm foundation of how you move forward now. Now it's about integrating and again coming into that sense of power on your own terms, without these pendulum swings of doing it one way or doing it that way, and you know, eating really like this and doing that. It's just like, this is what I feel today. This is what I'm going to do today. But I'm going to check in with my inner masculine as we move forward. I'm going to do it with confidence. I'm going to be grounded. You know, absolutely wonderful. So let's finish off with a couple of these chakra cards for you. And see what we have. Very exciting times. All right, we've got this one. Embrace the balance between earth and spirit. So it's clear quartz, rose quartz. And here we have balance. What did we just say? Embrace the balance between heaven between earth and spirit. And that's exactly what it is. Earth being the grounded form of the divine masculine, and spirit being that divine feminine and that beautiful childlike quality that you have, you know, coming together to mold into this beautiful authenticity that you have. And embracing how that's going to work for you is very important. That's exactly what we just said. That's just confirmation. One more. Grounding. Sink your roots deep, connect them to the heart of the earth. And we've got the root chakra here in red jasper. So that's what we said, you know, in order for you to be able to do this, not successfully, again, we just said, do it the way that you want to do it. So we're going to stand by that. But as a matter of advice, however you take it is completely up to you. Always listen to your intuition and take control over your own, take responsibility for your own life, of course. But, sinking your roots deep and getting that grounding, that root chakra firm with the divine masculine will set up the sort of site for you to be able to move forward and integrate all aspects of your unique personality and move forward in the way that you want to, and to be able to gain the results from the external world that you've been looking for. So those are your two confirmations there. We hope this resonated with you, pal, too. You stay beautiful. Go be you. We're sending you so much support exactly where you are, exactly for who you are right now. Stay safe and sane until we meet again. Bye-bye. For all you beautiful pile M's or pile 3s, however you chose this, it could be from mum, could be your initials, that is totally up to you. As a reminder, we are doing messages from Father Sky or the Divine Masculine here. So we're going to start off with a couple of oracle cards. So we start here. So experiencing grace, pull the Venetian here. Share your gifts with grace. Ways of inspiration and love are coming to you. See that for you. Wonderful. I'll get you a couple more cards as we move forward. So as we always say with this, reading the collective, there's always strands. I see them as a red strand all the way through. So this is all about, and it makes sense, this is a divine masculine reading about getting out there and using your voice. So you have that in common with pile 2. So let's do these two also. So experiencing grace. Oh, you got follow your dreams too. So did pile 2. Excellent. And expect miracles. All right. So let's start off with your reading here. Pile 3, beautiful. So experiencing grace. So the main thing for you that I'm getting, that we're getting for you with Father Sky and Divine Masculine is how to work with that energy. So the first two readings were very much about how to sort of be front and center with the divine masculine and allowing that to come into a different kind of balance for them. For you, it's about pulling back on your divine masculine or shifting your relationship with the divine masculine just a little bit. Everything you've done has been absolutely wonderful. You're shifting out of survival / protection mode and you're moving into thriving, right? So there's ways for you to, the way in which you've been in the world is that you've really shown up in the world and done what you've needed to do, and you're ultra independent, and you definitely work on your own terms, and whatever it is you've gotten, it's because you've really worked hard for it, and that's absolutely wonderful. Now you're being asked to shift directions. Now let's just see how this reading works for you. Hopefully it won't trigger you, and hopefully you'll get some inspiration from it. You're being asked not to move in force in any way, shape, or form, but to release into the knowing of the divine masculine and allow things to come to you. So this is very action oriented, pile 3. So this is not a passive reading in any way, shape, or form, but this is a different kind of moving forward. This is a different kind of activation of action that you've been working on before. The action that you're being asked to take is to absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, say, this is what I want, and to commit to it 100%. What you've been doing is when you commit to something 100%, you actually physically see it through. But there's a few things recently that you've thought you were going to commit to, and you've not really been able to do it. Some of you are feeling a little bit stuck or a little bit foggy, and you know what it is that you want to do, and you're excited about it. But when you actually come to it, you don't do it. So in way in which to shift that, to work with the divine masculine for you, is to 100 commit to the idea of it. You see, sometimes the way in which you've done it is that you ask the universe to step up and sort of prove things to you. All right, I'm going to take a couple of steps, and then you prove it to me, and then and then something happened where, before you take the steps, you want things to be in place so you can move forward. You want the universe to tell you that it's all going to be okay, and it's not out of laziness again. It's just out of time management. You don't want to waste your time anymore. So the universe is asking you, in a graceful manner, if you want something, then you commit to it and take that first baby step, and the universe will help you to move forward. But there's a level of commitment that comes in with your divine masculine that they want you to commit to in a way that you've never committed to before. Now, part of that is committing to yourself, committing to your soul, committing to your life here on earth as a human. Once you do that, it's going to split off in different directions. Okay, I'm committed to this, I'm committed to that, I'm committed to these people, I'm committed to that. Now, you're a committed person, you're committed to your family, you're committed to that. But you often put yourself last, and you're often not committed to yourself. So a lot of you have been, living in the survival mode so much. It's just a wonder of whether you've really committed to living in this life. But at the same time, you want to see, sort of curious. You look around, see what you can do, what can happen. You find life very curious. So in many ways, it's kind of a beautiful way to be, because you really do see life as a game. Sometimes you get caught up in it. Hell, we all do, right? Where you forget it's a game, and then the ego gets involved, and then you're tearing your hair out, but then you'll come back and go, oh my god, what I just did that, wasted 10 hours of my life doing that. Anyway, I learned my lesson, I'm moving on. But because of the way that you've been, and it's not exactly a non-committal space, it's out of an era or an aura of protection. So this is the way that you've been. So stepping into this new level of commitment with Father Sky and Divine Masculine firmly behind you is a new way of doing things. So if you commit to yourself, everything else that is brilliant, all of your ideas that you want can be implemented quite easily, because the commitment will be there as you step into that commitment, saying, all right, I'm doing this now. It won't fall away. You see, as you move into, you're getting confused a little bit, because you have this great idea, you go to do it, and then something loses it kind of flops. Something loses its enthusiasm or something. And you think, maybe it's this particular thing that I'm not supposed to be doing right now. Maybe I'm supposed to be going in a different direction. It's not that at all. It's the enthusiasm for yourself. So Divine Masculine can really root you grounded into this earth. Put your energy first. Make yourself a priority. Commit to yourself. And then as you choose whatever it is that you want to do, all of this beautiful information and that energy that's connected to your guides will be there for you, and it will move you forward. It's almost like you got out of step a little bit, and now when you look to the universe and say, I'm looking for help with this, that, and the other. No, they're absolutely there to step in, but you don't necessarily see it because you're looking for other signs. The commitment has to be there for yourself first. It has to be, the commitment has to be there for yourself, for the beauty that you are, for every experience that you've ever been through, for what you can absolutely do for this lifetime, because you really are very powerful. Now you're at a point where you have all these ideas and you want to implement them, and you want to follow your dreams, and you're ready to do that. And for some of you is movement, but you're ready to move forward in a way that's a little bit different. So putting yourself forward and really integrating and working with Father Sky and Divine Masculine in this very sort of graceful manner, where you're like, you're not in surviving anymore, you're in thriving. All right, I'm showing up and putting my energy first. It's this really kind of interesting way, because the Divine Masculine is all usually envisioned as being sort of like, not necessarily pushy, but action oriented, out there, this, that, and the other. But you have really been working with your Divine Feminine too. So when you show up, it's very purposeful. And you watch a lot. You watch how other people do things. And then you think, that's not kind of the result I want. That's not kind of the energy that I want. You're always watching. So your Divine Masculine is, I'm laughing because it's, I got told it can be a little bit creepy for some people, but it's not creepy at all. But because you're a watcher, you watch, you don't always step into this action role. And when you do, and it's in a very specific way, this is the way that you're working now, or you will be working, so you're working with the Divine Masculine in this really beautiful way. So it's this really concentrated way. It's almost like, and it's not arrogant in any way, shape, or form. It's not coming from the ego, even though it may feel as though when we talk about it, I don't want to waste my time moving in this direction. I don't want to move forward unless it's worth my while. Now, that's how you were doing it before, but not putting your energy first. Now, when you ground into your energy and work divinely with Father Sky and Divine Masculine, then you're really, everything sort of levels up. all the layers integrated. You've got the divine feminine, you've got everything working. You move forward with this confidence, and then you say to the universe, all right, just give me what it is I need for my higher self to move forward. If it's not for my higher self, let it fall away. I'm not wasting any more time, because you're very efficient, especially with time. This would work for you. So you were doing this action before with a myriad of different results and a myriad of different sort of looks and energies from other people, because you weren't solidly formed into your divine masculine, or you were using it before in a slightly different way, out of the survival mechanism of, I just want this, let's get this done, or I'm doing it, I want this, let's do it, in a sort of forceful way. So this is like pulling back a little bit, but also working with this beautiful way. Now, there's no reason for you not to expect miracles if this happens, because you've got this complete dichotomy of, every aspect of yourself working to move forward. And you've been working toward this way. Again, you've been working to look at things and how things fall apart. And, you're the sort of person who would be able to look at something, take it all apart and put it back together and make it work better. So, when you look back on your life, you really do look at everything that you've done before and go, oh, that behavior, okay, that's fine. Sometimes you're hard on yourself, sometimes you're not. You're coming out on the other side of that. So there's no point in being hard on yourself. That's where you were. We all work from a certain way from the trauma or the survival element. We're seeing that in the world globally right now. A lot of people are sort of being activated and filtering through how they feel everything's going through a trauma sort of filter, and some of that trauma is coming from whatever it is, not just what we've been through in the last 15 months. That's definitely activated it, but how society has treated us, how we've been, how we've been controlled in our society through all sorts of different means, including religion, everything, absolutely everything. So what you're doing is seeking freedom, and you're ready to be able to do that and seek freedom on your own terms. So you're not working from the trauma aspect of it anymore. And sometimes you have to work from the trauma aspect of it to be able to claim that from the inside out, to be able to release it properly. A lot of people in spirituality, victims, if you have the victim mentality, that, we all know that, the victim mentality is somewhat limited, but hey, some people go through absolutely horrific things, right? And they really were a victim. You're not going to sit down next to that victim and go, oh, well, this happened to you. Oh, well, slap on the back, you'll get over it. You'll be all right in a week. You don't do that. People need to claim that, they need to work within the victim mentality to be able to see what happened to them, to really be able to heal from the inside out when it no longer serves them. And when you feel as though it's holding you back, then that's when you release it. So you've worked from the trauma element, and on a collective way, we're seeing it now. But you've already worked through the trauma element of it. You're not really interested in working through that right now. So there's an ease and a grace to how you move forward. And there's kind of this new ingenuity of how you move forward, because you have that beautiful essence of power, like you do with Paul too. But it's also on the back burner a little bit. It comes in with a lot of grace. It comes with a lot of sort of still sitting on the sidelines and see what needs to be done. And with this divine action, and when that divine action comes in that you're called to, it's almost like, your past self would have said, oh, we're being lazy, because the way in which you would have worked, I'm going to do this, that, and the other. I'm going to make a list. I'm going to get this all done. I'm going to work through this list. I'm going to make this happen. There's nothing wrong with that. That's how things happen. But you're working completely differently now. You're working from this divine element of, I'm going to get my energy in line with exactly what I want. I'm going to expect miracles, come into the grace aspect of it. And then from that energy, when I'm prompted to go somewhere and do something, I'm going to do it. And then these results are going to be absolutely incredible. And again, we said this, I think it was in Paul too, on the outskirts of things, people will be like, I don't know how you got that, or I don't know how this happened. I don't know how you walked into this, or, most people wouldn't say that because you're actually a really hard worker. But, some people would be like, that was kind of lucky, but it isn't lucky. You're just working with, the energy that you have with the divine masculine slightly differently. One could say that the way in which you're showing up with the divine masculine is absolutely melded in with the divine feminine in a way that isn't working, is slightly different in Pal 2, where the divine masculine is actually stepping up first and giving space to the rise of the divine feminine. So you're actually working sort of on the opposite terms. But again, this works for you. So let's get you some tarot and see where we are. So the first one is the Four of Discs, absolutely. experiencing that grace there and moving into a new way of being, as we said before. You've got the Two of Cups, expect miracles too. Let's move this up a little bit. Just want to show you this beautiful cards, Two of Cups here. It's a bit shiny because of the light. We've got the Four of Discs here. Yeah, there's something sort of theatrical about you too, and you can play on that. Not everybody knows how to work around you, which is kind of wonderful. You've got the Seven of Wands here, and it's reversed. So what you're doing is, yeah, you're working in a way that is a little bit different, but you've just gone through this transformation. Actually, on the bottom, when I picked this up, it's gone now. The Tarot card was at the bottom, the Tower card. So something where you've decided something didn't work anymore, and you're very able to do this, just shift to 180. This isn't working for me anymore. I'm going to try this. So, there might have been something on the external. I mean, it could have been the last 15 months, who knows? But there's something on the external. It feels a little bit more personal too, that really integrated into the personal, where you were like into this cocoon and you said, all right, it's now or never. We're going to do this. Coming into the balance and coming into this grace and using this theatrical. Some of you may even be actors or writers or some kind of performance. And some of you may just see the world as some kind of performance. Again, as we said before earlier, to reiterate, you have that essence of knowing that life is a game. Sometimes you take it seriously and you forget, but then you come out and go, oh, what the hell did I just do? But you know that life is a game. So you can detach from it and just let people play out. Because everybody's playing that game, and not everybody realizes that they are. And some people say, yeah, life is a game, and then but they're not playing it right. So you figured out when they are playing it right to them. That's what they're doing. But there's an easier way to do it. For you, there's nothing lazy about you. You're willing to put in the work, but you put in so much work in the past for mediocre results that you know that there's a better way to get excellent results, and it's out of your control. It's in this complete alignment. So you've decided to give up or move through this sense of control, which comes out of, wanting to be protected, right? It comes out of not thriving, but surviving, and moving into releasing and aligning, which is thriving. You're ready to do this. Now, part of it is part of the cocoon thing. You didn't have much of a choice. You got to the point where you were forced into, in some ways, to evolve. You wanted to do it. You didn't go in there kicking and screaming, but it's something that you volunteered for, and you realize that, but you're out on the other side of that transformation. You're ready for this grace. You're ready for alignment. And you're ready for a new lease of life. You're definitely ready for a connection. Again, connecting to yourself, connecting to others in a brand new way to level up. Now, you're extremely talented. And again, the other side of your personality is that because you have a performance element to you, and you do see life as a performance or as a game. Some of you are like, why bother? Or let's play it as a game. It's, I don't get too heavily involved in it. This is a way for you to integrate fully into that energy, for you do get invested in it. And some of you have just, you're not too invested until something comes up and you're like, oh, this is going to work for me. Because you put so much energy into your life before. But this is a way for you to step up. See the world as a game, absolutely. You don't have to take everything so seriously, which you're already, because of that shift, you're already doing. But at the same time, put all of your commitment into being the best person that you can be. In that way, you have something in common with Paul too. And as you show up, you become into that, you come into that alignment with that divine masculine energy that puts you forward. And then this new level of commitment, this new level of, you've got a lot of commitment, this new level of connection comes in that you've never had before. There's a part of you that's, you're on the outskirts looking in, you're not fully connected into your life, even with if you're acting or performing, or some of you are artists. You are so incredibly talented. Now, the talent that you're giving right now is still better than most, right? You could still, have a really beautiful career, get out, and most of you have, but you can take it one step further. You can always take it one step further and be, be in the limelight for what you do, because you're that talented. But You know, pile three, there's more depth to you, you know, and this is about you stepping into that extra hidden depth. A lot of people go into the shadow work and say, you know, what do I need to put light on and heal? For you, you've done that, but there's some stuff in the darkness for you, some extra talent, that extra level of beauty there. So if you want to do a little bit of extra work for yourself, it's not a lot, inner work, I would go in and see how much beauty you still have that needs a little bit of light to be able to shine. And as you integrate into that Father Sky Divine Masculine energy, it's going to hold that light for you. It's going to hold that platform for you, that firm foundation to give you the confidence to be able to shine the way that you are meant to. You're working at probably about 70 to 75% capacity. Again, that 70 or 75 that you have is bright, 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 but you're not at 100 yet. And you could be. There's layers to your, not just personality, but there's layers to your life. There's layers to your gifts that are coming out. We wouldn't say that you're just starting, but you know, the lotus flower is just about to blossom. So, you know, you can really get further in deep, full, meaningful stuff coming in. And this is the way for you to activate that. And also, you spent a lot of your life sort of deflecting stuff and holding space for yourself, you know, fighting for space in this world when you realized that it was a game, but you know, you were behind a little bit. You know, you always felt as though you were behind a little bit. You didn't have the upbringing that others had. You didn't have the security that others had. You didn't have the financial stuff that others had. Whatever it is that you had, that others had an advantage over you, you always felt as though you were two steps behind. Now, this may not be for every single person in this general reading, but if it is for you, we want to remind you that those experiences made you who you are. You were never two steps behind. You're actually rising up in a way that you're going to overtake all of those people who had those privileges and did not have to go through, or did not go through what you went through. You went through a lot of pain and heartache to see what you went through that other people didn't have to endure. And it seems like they had an easier life and were able to get things a little easier than you were. But this is your time to step in and expect those miracles, because you can do that. It's accessing the depth of who you are, and really allowing all of these beautiful gifts to blossom. Remember, the lotus flower actually blossoms from the mud. Its roots are in the mud. And this is a way for you to shine in a brand new way with this beautiful grace that you have, but also holding space for exactly who you are, instead of fighting for that space through validation, or just fighting for it literally. I want that space. Holding space for yourself and watching the universe, the energy of the universe and people around you, bringing you in without you having to do anything. Well, you are doing something. You're doing something immense. You're shifting your energy. So this is a way for you to move forward in the way that you want to be in the limelight, the way that you deserve to be, in the way that you are going to be in this lifetime, but directing your energy differently, so you're not working against yourself. You're working with yourself. So that's how the Divine Masculine can help you in that way. Let's get you a couple of cards from the Chakra Love before we close out this reading. So we hope that this is helping you in some way, clarifying. Okay. All things work best in conjunction with all things. Absolutely. Equilibrium. So it's all about bringing in all layers and all aspects of oneself to shine brightly the way that one wants to do it. And the way that you can do it is to bring in that Divine Masculine and have that be the central line for you to hold space for everything else. And you will do that. That's what you're doing. Safety. In the hurricane of life, a strong foundation will keep you safe. Root chakra. That's exactly what we just said. And this is snowflake obsidian there. Root chakra, absolutely creating that safety for yourself. Now, unfortunately, again, for some of you, not all, some of you have had to figure out how to build a safe life and feel safe in this lifetime. You've not always had that safety in and around you. That's why you've been ultra independent and had to figure things out on your own. So having the safety and really, really drawing in and making that first chakra, that foundation, absolutely rock solid for you to sort of shoot off, live spherically, as we say, not just in one dimension. But if that's what you want to do, that's fine. The most important thing is that you use the Father Sky Divine Masculine energy to create that foundation for you, so you are spending less energy making things work for you, instead of just holding your energy as a beacon and letting it all come to you. So many great things ahead. You don't need to protect yourself anymore. The divine masculine energy will do that for you. In fact, some of that energy of needing to deflect or defend actually pulls you out of your power. No need to do that. Firm boundaries will be there when you need them. You will know how to, you'll interact with that energy when it comes up to it, but you don't need to deflect constantly or justify your existence in any way. This is a way for you to stand in all of your beautiful energy and put your energy forward in the thriving momentum by doing essentially, to the outside world, maybe very little, but you know differently. You know how much power it takes to be able to do this and live this kind of like this magical life. Okay. So if you want a little extra advice too, we have the full moon reading. I'm going to list that down below. That's been uploaded recently. That's coming in on the 23rd. Let's see, the 23rd of July. So if you are watching this reading in and around that time, you haven't checked out that video yet, that's the newest video that's in and around this energy, or what we're dealing with, or what we're working with the collective right now. So if you feel like you need some extra vavum, a little extra information, check that out down below. We are sending you beautiful energy and support for exactly where you are, for exactly who you are right now. Please stay safe and sane until we meet again, pal 3. Bye-bye.